Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got some new cars to have a look at from, well, over in Japan, they're from Battle Partners. Over in the West, they're from Journey Together. Either way, they're awesome. We got a card that could be quite playable, and a card that, if we're honest, probably won't be, but oh my word, it's adorable. So let's start there with Furret and Centret, and then the illustration rare of Furret. Look how adorable this card is. It is, frankly, ridiculous. Now look, playability-wise, we've got a stage 1, 120 HP, single energy 40, 2 energy 70, but the fact that we're not ever hitting for weakness because we're colorless is a big problem. If this was a card in Pokemon TCG Pocket, I'm kind of liking this. But it's not. This is a card in the main Pokemon trading card game, and therefore I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Playability-wise, this is flat-out garbage. Although not completely unplayable in a pre-release. Again, I still don't think it's good, but the fact that it's colorless energy, it's fairly low energy, 70 damage isn't completely terrible in a pre-release. Again, I'm not claiming this is a good card. I cannot stress that enough. This is not a good card, but just purely in the context of pre-releases, I can see an argument. Not a great argument, but I can see an argument. But that's not why we're excited about this card. We're excited about this card because it's beautiful. And it is an illustration rare by Rend, who has done a few non-illustration rares, but this is now, by my count, the 6th illustration rare we've seen from them, and we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern. Obviously, they actually won the illustration contest with their Arcanine card, so that's kind of where we first saw them, which I think is pretty fun, honestly. But since then, we've seen a bunch of illustration rares. Now, interestingly enough, the first one they did was the most different. This was a Pawmi that came around in Paldean Fates, which is a beautiful card and a lovely card, and because there were so few illustration rares in Paldean Fates, the value of that card is approximately 0. It's a very cheap card. But since then, their illustration rares have been very, very, very stylized, I think is probably the nice way to put it. They've had a bunch of cards that all look in a very similar style, quite a realistic style, and I'm kind of digging it. So over in Temporal Forces, we had this Cutie Fly, which is lovely. Over in Twilight Masquerade, we had Chime Echo. Over in Shrouded Fable, we had this Zorua. And then in Surging Sparks, we had this Vivian. Weirdly, we didn't get one in Stellar Crown, which is weird because they've been on like a 1 illustration rare per set kind of deal, and for some reason we missed out Stellar Crown. And I'm not entirely sure why, and it doesn't really matter. It's just weird to me that we missed out a set for some reason. I think their artwork is phenomenal. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I've seen some idiots online already being like, oh, it's AI. No, it's not. It's just really phenomenal artwork. It's definitely not AI. Don't be ridiculous. And frankly, a little bit insulting. No, ladies and gentlemen, we've just got phenomenal art from a phenomenal artist who, like I say, except for that one random set, does seem to be on a 1 illustration rare per set kind of deal. And honestly, for as long as this carries on, I am totally okay with this. This is lovely. Now, that's the Furret here. It's cool. We like Furret. It's not playable, but it is beautiful. What do we have that might be playable? We've got ourselves a Ludicolo. Well, we got the whole evolution line, but we've got ourselves a Ludicolo. Stage 2, lovely artwork by Jerky, who is an artist I am liking more and more as time goes by. And we've got ourselves a rather interesting ability. It gives all of your Pokemon an extra 40 HP, and it does not stack. This is very, very important. This is the thing we see quite a lot here with this kind of ability. You get an extra 40 HP, that's lovely, But no, it's not going to stack. These kind of things never stack. And this is a very interesting ability. Extra 40 HP, very, very nice. The question becomes, is anybody actually going to play this? Because it's not like we haven't seen this before. We've literally seen this exact ability on Kricketune, and I'm showing you the version here from Crown Zenith because look at the artwork. Now, Kricketune was a stage 1, but it was only for grass Pokemon, which I think is why we have a little bit of faith here that Ludicolo could be different, because essentially we go, well, yeah, Kricketune was pretty good, but the available pool of partners was quite small because it only affected grass Pokemon. So maybe if we extend it out here to any Pokemon, maybe the fact that we got so many more Pokemon that could be brought in here means that we could see a bit more play with it. Maybe. That's absolutely possible here. Back in the single and rapid strike era, we did have a Bomber Snow with a wonderful Mitsuhiro Rita artwork I can show you, which did give single strike Pokemon an extra 50 HP. And I'm sure I'm not going to be surprising many of you here, but I'm going to say it. 50 is more than 40. But this is a point where a bunch of you start going, well, hang on a second, Wassy. I don't remember that Kricketune seeing a huge amount of play. And I don't remember seeing that Abomasnow in a whole bunch of decks either. And the answer is yeah. But again, they were specific. And actually, if we want to go back to Cosmic Eclipse, Vaporeon gave 60 more HP to Pokemon GX that evolved from Eevee. And I did actually see this one in a couple of decks, but it was, let's say it was far from a staple. It wasn't like you're seeing it everywhere. My point is, we've had abilities like this in the past, but the abilities like this in the past have always been for specific Pokemon. Vaporeon is GXs that evolved from Eevee. Abomasnow is single strike Pokemon. Kricketune is grass type Pokemon. What we're not seeing a huge amount of is just everyone gets an extra 40 HP, all of your Pokemon get an extra 40 HP. And maybe that's the answer here. Maybe that's the reason this could be a little bit better. But we do come back to that thing we come back to a lot, which is, it's a stage 2. And being a stage 2 is awkward. Now, what I really want here is I want Archie's ace in the hole. Partly because I got a son called Archie, and it would be lovely to have some Archie cards back again. And partly because that's a card that allows you to put a water Pokemon just straight onto your bench. And you don't need to do the whole evolution thing. And maybe that could work. Problem is, that came out in Primal Clash, hasn't been reprinted, and yeah. It's been a while, frankly, at this stage, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while. And now, Archie actually is fine, but the fighting equivalent Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick did get banned for being too good. So, given that a card with this same effect, but for a different type of Pokemon, literally got banned for breaking the game, I don't think Archie's ace in the hole is coming back anytime soon, or something to that effect. Having said that, don't forget we did get Mustard cards. We had Single Strike Mustard, which put a Single Strike Pokemon onto your bench from your deck, and a Rapid Strike Mustard that did go and get a Rapid Strike Pokemon from your discard pile. But again, the fact that they applied specifically to Single and Rapid Strike Pokemon, it made them easier to control. Whereas something that can affect any fighting Pokemon and any water Pokemon, it makes it way more likely that they end up being broken. So don't think Mustard is proof that Archie's going to be coming back anytime soon, because Mustard is just very easy to control, because the pool of cards that they could affect is actually a lot smaller. So look, I like this ability. I think 40 extra HP is great. I think there's some really fun combos that could be made here with like a Bravery Charm to give you an extra 50 HP, so that all of a sudden you've got an extra 90 HP. Something like that where you're just really building up your HP could be incredibly fun. But I just don't know if anybody's going to want to go down the whole stage 2 route here. Because the other thing is, we need to acknowledge the fact Ludicolo's attack is terrible. Free energy 130, no, that's terrible. That's a really bad attack. So, I'm not saying it's a bad ability. I actually think it's a really good ability. But having this ability on a stage 2 is a pain. The fact that it gives all of your Pokemon an extra 40 HP, though, please don't sleep on that. Because it's little things like everybody's playing Squawkabilly because it's such a useful Pokemon. Well, that's got 160 HP, which is terrible. And there's a lot of people around, a lot of decks around that can KO that. But that from 160 to 200, and all of a sudden a bunch of the counters don't work. So it doesn't just protect your main Pokemon here, it also protects your support Pokemon, and means your opponent doesn't hit the numbers they thought they were hitting. You know, it's going to make it really awkward for your opponent to use something like a Duskull or a Dusknoir against you, because all of a sudden that extra 40 HP is completely throwing off their maths. So I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm saying it's a really good ability. I'm saying if you get it on the board, it's going to be absolutely great. I'm just saying I don't know if anybody's going to want to get a stage 2 up and rolling. Obviously, if there was another Ludicolo with which we could combine this, that would be awesome. But there isn't. The last Ludicolo we got was back in Evolving Skies. I did actually really try and use the one from Primal Clash for ages. One of the ones. There were 2 in Primal Clash, weirdly. And that's the one that just had Catcher on a coin flip. It was not good. I tried so hard to make that Ludicolo work. It never worked. As it is, I'm giving this an ordinary everyday run-of-the-mill free Wassies. There is a chance that is way too generous. It's a really fun ability. It's an ability that could make a huge difference. It's also an ability on a stage 2 that doesn't have any other Pokemon with which you could combine it, which I think could be the death knell. But I want to know what you think, as well as what you think about this lovely Furret art. So let me know in the comment section. Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.